Right, good evening and welcome to the second edition of Talking Tigers, the magazine show for Sheffield Speedway. Tonight we've got Ashley Birks with us, and we've also got Sheffield co-promoter Peter Mole and a live audience. So we'll be taking questions from the audience later on. So just think of what you want to ask, and we'll try and answer the questions as best as we can. So just to start, Peter, you've been involved with Sheffield now for getting on for 2 years. What was it that brought a dentist from Dudley into Sheffield as a promoter?
Well, I don't know how much people know about me. I've always been a Speedway fan, Simon, for years, since I was a kid. And then my wife is actually from Sheffield, so that's where the Sheffield connection came in. When my daughter was 2 years old, we used to come up most Thursdays to see her family, so I'd come, and that's why I started going to Sheffield Speedway. Originally I'm a Cradley fan from years back, which is near where I live. I had a good team in the 80s. But then when Cradley closed down, I suppose that's why I started coming to Sheffield. As time went on, I thought it'd be nice to get a little bit more involved in the business side of Speedway. Obviously going to make it as a rider like Ash or the riders. I was too old and I wouldn't have been any good anyway. So I had a few contacts at Newport where I got a little bit involved there, but it was never the sort of setup that Sheffield was. And then Sheffield, the opportunity came along and they all said the club was up for sale. I'd still got a lot of connections in Sheffield and it just seemed a natural progression. And it's been absolutely fab. You know, the fans are great and Sheffield's great. I feel like I know people here, I've got family here, and I just feel at home, and it's great to come up every week and see everybody again. And
last season we started late, built a team. I think we thought then, how much more unlucky can we be? We know now. We finished second bottom for the third year running, which was not great. So we built the team this year. We brought back Mr. Birks, who was with us in 2011, I think, last time, Ash.
Yep.
And we had a spine in the team really of local lads with Steady and Josh and Ash, and then some guys coming back to us. Ty obviously coming back to us from last season, and then a couple of guys coming in. Obviously we got Arthur coming in, which was a bit of a gamble, but I think with his pedigree we thought it was going to be one worth taking. And obviously David came in as a guy who'd done really well with us in the past, and obviously Andre came back into the team. So I think we were all very confident that team was going to be particularly strong this season, but then we suffered a few injuries. Master of the understatement. We've had a few injuries and a few problems, because obviously Taylor Poole was originally meant to be in the team, and that sort of set the scene for how the season has gone, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last year was a rush. You were involved as well, Simon. Obviously you're part of our consortium, and last year we didn't have time. We were really scraping the barrel when it came to picking riders, but we still thought we got a good team last year. We wanted a team of racers, and with Taylor and Ty and different people. Obviously we got Simon in early, Adam Royman. We thought we got a team that would hold their own, but it didn't work out that way, and as you say, we had the injury problems. This winter we had a lot more time to get the team. As a consortium, as a club, I think with Sheffield Speedway as a business, we got certain ideas we wanted to put in place. We bought the club at a value and we wanted to lift it up to a higher value. We're business people, we don't want to sell it at a higher value, but we want to increase the stock and make Sheffield a good team in British Speedway. Obviously we wanted the team to be successful. We wanted a track to be up to a standard that would give good racing every week. We spent a lot of money on drainage to a track, shale, massive amounts of money on man hours, physically making a track in right condition. We want to improve the asset base of the club. Obviously we've got Josh, Simon as assets now, Paco, we've got Arthur, and we feel we're going in the right direction there, and we want success entertaining meetings and the fan base to increase. And we've got our loyal base of fans, which is great. Every club appreciates those. We know who you are. It's nice to get the floating fans that come in week by week and hopefully increase the value of the club that way. And we feel, in spite of the bad luck we've had this year with injuries, we brought riders in when we needed to. Sometimes not what everybody would like, but what's available and fits in average-wise, and we feel hopefully we're still going in the right direction. Our aim was to get to the playoffs, which we're there, and now we start again. We've got a different team approach from what we started the season with, but we still feel we can do this, and it's great that you're with us still, so that's good.
And Ash, obviously you came back to Sheffield at the start of this season. Must have been something that you were pleased to do, because I remember you guesting for us last season, and you were wearing that race jacket with pride, I think.
Yeah, every time I put Sheffield race jacket on, it's with pride, and it's something I'll always be proud of achieving, just getting in the Sheffield team, because I've watched Speedway for years. Growing up, I always watched Speedway at Sheffield, and every time I put it on, I'm proud of it. Obviously, getting back in the draft this year, so my season just had such a buzz about it. I was so excited to get started. I trained hard, worked hard. I had a dip, things didn't go to plan, but I started getting back going, and confidence were coming back and feeling good on the bike, and then just get hit by another injury, which really just the story of Sheffield's season.
And you'd really just got back to some real classic form, hadn't you? And I think you had a bit of help from Ricky Ashworth there, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, it's tough to say exactly what it was. I can't put my finger on it, but I got on the engines what Ricky were riding before he crashed, and our sense were going good. I couldn't get stuff going that I had myself, and we tried hard. You know, every meeting I was leaving, trying calling my engine tune and seeing what we could do different, and I just couldn't get to work what was underneath me, and I jumped on something else. And it was just after a meeting at Sheffield, my mechanic just said to me, I wanted to go home. I was so angry. And I was just like, no, I'm going home. And he's like, no, you're going out after meeting, you're going to ride that engine. And basically, we warmed it up on the stand before the meeting, and an ignition went on it. So I couldn't ride it during that meeting. I rode my lakeside engine that meeting. And basically, around Sheffield, obviously it's not set up for around there. I was just fighting and losing battles. So all night I was just so annoyed. And I got on it one night before I went to Plymouth. I dropped clutch, did 4 laps, and I just came straight in with a big smile on my face, and I said, that's it, it's something that suited my riding style. Everyone rides different, and that suited me. So we went to Plymouth and doubled up with Andre out way down, and I don't think Andre believed me, because there were rumours going around, Ash has lost his confidence, Ash has lost this, and I just had this buzz all the way down. I said, no, honestly mate, I know, like, I've rode for long enough now, it works last night, something's different, what just suits my riding style. And I got to Plymouth, and I think I might have scored paid 10 there away from home, and I'd not scored more as any points leading up to that. And then from then on, I just kept on that motor until it needed a service, tried another one of his, rode that, scored points everywhere, and I just kept riding the same engine everywhere. I rode it at Lakeside on Sky Sports, scored, I think it was paid 13 foot, dropped 1 or something like that, and
yeah.
It was just it just suited me, and that's all I can say. It suited it was what I like to ride, and I think it's just what suits different people goes, and it's tough to put your finger on what it is. But
when you hear those rumours that you've lost your confidence and this, that, and the other, does it affect you?
Well, I think what affected me most, I felt like some people just lost faith in my riding ability, and that, like, I am quite a sensitive person. People who know me close know that things do get to me, and it did. And I was going home and I was just angry for days, like trying to do my bike, starting to wash bike, and just thinking I don't know what to do, because it's a very, very expensive sport. That's the other thing, and to make things right, to finance it without scoring points just becomes a drag, and my season was just becoming a drag. And Ian Hunter got on phone to me, and he sourced this engine for me and just said, you've got to get on that. And he was the person, the key, that said, like, no, you haven't lost it, you can still do this. And along with Tony Dawson, Ricky Ashworth and Ian, that's who got me on them motors. And I'll always remember that moment when I rode that engine after Sheffield, and when I came in with a smile on my face.
That's great. And obviously you were riding those engines right up until that fateful night up in Glasgow, when you came a cropper and damaged your shoulder and your collarbone, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a decent first race. I'd been to Glasgow before, weren't gating on the Sky Sports meeting, but I felt like I had some track craft and I felt alright, and I knew that I'd been riding good. Things were clicking, and I was really confident. I passed James Sargent coming down the straight, and he was slightly turning left on me, which brought me really narrow into the turn. And obviously you can see from the reports of that meeting there were a lot of crashes that night, and it was pulling you into the corners hard, and obviously coming in narrow, if it's pulling you hard you're heading towards the fence, but it's a big banking, so I had confidence. And just as I looked away from the corner, I thought I'd missed the fence, footrest just clipped it straight over the bars and went down like a sack of potatoes, and yeah, mad.
Yeah, it's a terrible moment for you, terrible moment for the team, because I think we were firing quite well after the early season loss of David and Simon. So obviously your season was over then, and the team got changed, and the team has been changed several times since then as well. Going into the playoffs now with almost a brand new team, what's your thoughts on Sheffield's chances?
Yeah, I think they've got a great chance. I think with Josh Birks riding like he is down at reserve, his form around Sheffield and to watch is phenomenal. He's giving it everything for the team, and he's wearing that top with pride. His family's in the consortium, and he knows every time. His form for Sheffield's just around Sheffield's just become great, and he's a fan's favourite. He's a character. You've got Paco, who's another character who's gone down to reserve. He's had a paid win. I think he's won a race around Sheffield from the main body of the team. It's difficult. Premier League's a difficult league, but from reserve now he can build confidence. Aspergen, is it Aspergen?
Yeah, will do.
He scores points on the continent. I watched him in Sweden. I think he is struggling for a bit of confidence, but coming back to the UK must be in his plans to get that confidence back. And I think he's a professional outfit, and he still wants to move forward in the sport, so he'll be giving it everything. Andre, if he can bring his Sheffield form in there, you've got riders that can win races, and on the night, look what they did against Edinburgh, and no one expected it, but these boys are up for it. You've got racers, you've got fighters, and the injured riders are down there pushing them on as well. We're there every week wanting the guys to do it, and it's that force behind you that we need, and I think taking it into playoffs, anything can happen.
I think it's important in the playoffs. It's obviously two teams fighting against each other for an aggregate victory, so if we can get some big wins at home, I think that's going to be the key to it. And we've got riders who can all score points. I mean, Robin Askew came to Sheffield earlier in the season, scored 8 points, so he can ride Sheffield. And you know Robin quite well, don't you, from Newport days?
Yeah, well, I knew Robin when he first came over to UK at Newport. Anders Melgren was injured, and we brought Robin in to replace him. And on his debut at Newport, he scored a 12-point maximum. So he's not quite surpassed that since, but Robin's good. He's down at reserve. We looked at the team and we saw where he'd be in reserve from now on, Robin.
Also, where's Paco? I'm back in today.
Josh is on.
Oh, Josh is back in today.
Yeah, and with Paco, you saw what it meant to Paco when he won. You mentioned about the paid win at home. He got a paid win at Scunthorpe on Monday, and it meant a lot to him. There's a real good team spirit at Sheffield. Although riders may not be English, they might have Italian, Frenchman, they all live in the city, they all live in Sheffield. The workshops are close together, they see a lot of each other off the track, and the team spirit's great. And when you get to playoffs, that's worth a lot. Even though we've had the team changes, they still, isn't it, Ash? There's still a good, still a good team spirit there.
There's no malice there. Every injured rider, Andre's been in the pits every week. Simon's in the pits helping Josh and helping other team members. I'm down there in the pits just getting stuck in. And if anyone needs any help, we're all there. We all want Sheffield to do well, and I think that's the kind of, it's his own city's team. And I always want Sheffield to do well. Even when I was riding for Scunthorpe, you want Sheffield to do well. I'm not saying I didn't want Scunthorpe to win at Sheffield, but I always want Sheffield to do well as a team, and this promotion brings a buzz to the club. The fans are great, and fingers crossed if we can get into that final, boost a big crowd at Sheffield, and next year set off, and fingers crossed have an injury-free year, because this year's just been devastating to watch for fans and riders, just your friends and your riders falling to pieces around you, really.
We've done very well this year with the guest rider facility. I mean, we don't like using guests, but to be honest, with Steady, how he was, his average, there was nobody available who would do that. Damien Bates, I mean, he's done sterling work on the phone, booking guests. He's tended to book them a month in advance for all the meetings that month, so we made sure we got a choice of who we wanted. I got the job of checking with the promoters we could approach their riders first. And, some said some comments, but the guest facility has worked really well. Come the playoffs, it wouldn't work so well. Obviously we couldn't use any number one, some other teams in the playoffs. Other riders available we felt wouldn't be focused at this stage of the season.
Because Lassie Bear were one in mind. I was speaking to Damien about it and yourself, and once he got injured it kind of just meant you had to make changes to bring riders.
And who's to say Jason Garrity can't set up to number one? Who would you put your money on in the league who could? If I had to say anyone, it'd be Jason Garrity, the way he's riding. And he is so up for it, isn't he?
He's always.
He loves Sheffield. He says, I'm going to be here next season, no doubt about that at all. And we haven't discussed next season's team plans yet. We've got ideas in our head because we started planning for next year back in July, August of this year. But Jason's up for it and he'll do a good job. He won't let anybody down.
And Jason's had his fair share of injuries as well, but he's just kept riding, hasn't he?
He missed a week, didn't he, recently when he came off at Barrack. But Jason's Jason. He loves Speedway. He's busy. He's riding most nights a week, and we just hope he carries that form on for the rest of the season and steps it up to a number one role.
just on injuries, obviously, the last time we did this programme, we just got Lewis Kerr had his injury. Obviously, Darcy's had his injury, and I know yourself, Ash, you had a major injury in 2013 that you broke your back in two places, had 2 metal rods in your back. What makes you come back?
It's difficult, and now I've had 3 seasons where I've been injured, not finished the year, and I'm just disheartened with the sport, really. I'm just gutted. Like, obviously you put all the effort in from the beginning, make sure your bike's right. I always build new bikes for every season, set off with the intentions of, you don't have any doubts because you can't start like that. And now I'm starting to doubt myself, it's just this. I've got a lot of big winter now to think about what I want to do, because the position I'm in at the minute, when you're getting out of bed at 24 and you feel like you're 64, it's not good. Sorry if any 64-year-olds filming. But I need to get myself. I need to have a year, and I think the best thing for me is to have a year out. I haven't fully decided yet, but I think that's the best plan. Get my body right before I come back, because rushing back all the time, no one thinks any better of me. I can keep rushing injuries back and get on a bike, and it's not good, and I find it really tough even speaking about it, because Speedway is what I love doing it, I love racing, but at the minute I think Speedway's got a lot of stuff to think about, because the injuries this year and the injuries, it's just crazy, and it's sad to see your friends injured like that all the time, and I don't know what you can put it down to. I was thinking about it the other week, and obviously you look where the injuries are. We're looking when did most riders get injured, what were the tracks like, and it just seems as though, like, there were 2 track records broken, one at Glasgow, one at Berwick, and they were probably the biggest injury meetings of the year so far. So what can you put that down to? Too much dirt on the track, because when the track's grippy, that's when you can break a track record. So do the bikes not handle that good? When it's driving, why did I crash? Because my bike was driving too much. So are people making the tracks too much like an home track advantage to put other riders off? And when they are grippy, we can't control them. And then I've seen Craig Cook put a statement on Twitter saying that track weren't good at Berwick that night, but the promoter then, after all them injuries, the promoter wrote back more or less just telling Craig Cook to F off. And so the rider's voice then, he tried to say the track weren't good that night, and it's difficult. Where do you go from it? Because then weather has a big thing. If it rains the night before and then starts drying up, it makes the track grippy. But then can you blade it off, make it more slick? Because these tracks in Europe, obviously Darcy's crash recently is a freak accident, and when you watch what's happened, he pushes hard, and it's just devastating, because I genuinely think he is the most talented rider in the world. But over here, you see riders come over trying to ride these tracks, these world-class riders, and they look very average because the tracks are so patchy and difficult to ride. And can you put it down to that when the bikes are driving so hard, the riders aren't fully in control, and that's why we're crashing? I don't know, but it's definitely something that people have got to start thinking about, because rider safety is a big thing, and also a rider voice, so people can actually talk and people listen.
I think the sport's got quite a lot of questions to answer over this winter. And Peter, you've got the conference coming up fairly soon. What kind of things do you think are going to be discussed, and what would you like to see at the conference?
I think what will be mentioned a lot at the conference will be the shortage of riders, certainly at all levels really. I know at Premier League there's talk of maybe a fast track coming in, like having Elite League. I wouldn't be a big fan of that for lots of reasons which I won't go into now. I agree it's good for the kids, the National League riders, to step up, but I tend to think if they're good enough, Premier League level, they'll get the chance anyway to step up. At Sheffield Speedway, we budget the team to what we think our crowds will be, and we want to give you the best product. We want the best team we can afford in our business plan to put on that track. We don't particularly want to be told that we've got to weaken a team. Because if we think the team's weak, you're going to think it's weak. And I think there's a lot of serious talking to go on at this conference.
But obviously, talking about that, drafting Premier League would work perfectly if they didn't bring it in Elite League.
Yes, because then
then you would have decent reserves, British reserves coming through Premier League to try and get to Elite League, and they jump to Elite League. And obviously, that was controversial at the time.
It was a big step up from National League to Elite League, and I think it's quite a big step up from...
Draft riders in Premier League would have to be 20 riders that get selected for draft each step, so then it would have to be tiered down from that, which then does create...
Yeah, it's what the standard riders would be like in the draft, and a weaker rider with a good rider in a race can cause accidents, can't it, Ash? If you get someone who makes a good gate and they're riding on edge because they've got someone good behind them, that can cause accidents. I won't mention instances, but it's happened this season on our travels where a weak reserve has gated in front of one of our riders and caused an accident. But who knows? It'll be an interesting conference. It's earlier this year, it's in October. So we've got 2 days then, and there's some pre-conference days as well, so we'll see what's said.
Crowds have been a big problem for a lot of clubs. I think Sheffield's probably one of the few teams that have actually improved the crowds year on year. And do you think the sport is going to end up being run for the teams that have got poor crowds?
That's always a danger, but we need the teams that have got the poor crowds. We can't just cater for ourselves. We'll have to see. I mean, what are the reasons why the crowds are poor? Do they maybe not promote as much? We're lucky at Sheffield, we've got a great fan base, just we always have. The stadium's good for people to come. Some tracks haven't got the facilities we've got. But it's a tough one, Simon, and I don't know the answers. That's why we need to sit down as a group of people and decide what is the best way forward for the sport as a whole, throughout the 3 leagues as well, 3 divisions.
Okay, well before the conference, this weekend we've got the PLRC on Sunday. We've got Jason Garrity riding for Sheffield. Who do you think is going to win it?
Myself, I think Jason will try hard. I think Jason will win. I'd like to say that with my Sheffield hat on. Obviously, everybody will think of the same favourites. Craig Cook, he's going to have a good chance. My old friend Brady Kurtz. 2 months ago, I said Brady would have a very good chance. I still think he's got a chance now, but I'm not sure how consistent he might be. But on the day, you've all seen how fast he is there. So Brady Kurtz in the mix, Jason Garrity, Craig Cook, and as an outsider, Ash mentioned this, maybe Richie Worrell. Those are my sort of top 4-ish. What about you, Ash?
I think Ricky Wells is an outsider. Obviously he's on form at the minute, he's had some good meetings around Sheffield and he seems to be trapping. He's definitely got something working. 2 hot favourites, same as what you said, Brady Kurtz, Craig Cook, Jason Garrity, Ricky Wells final for me.
Yeah, that would be good, and Jason to come out on top. That would send us to the playoffs in good spirit, Jason.
Who's reserve? Is Josh reserve?
Probably.
If someone misses me, we could have Donk up there.
So the PLRC looks like it's going to be a cracker on Sunday. Obviously, the World Championships coming towards its climax. I know you're going to the final meeting over in Melbourne, Peter, aren't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't planned, but a couple of months ago, my daughter talked me into taking us, so we're going out. Normally, I go later, but we're going for 3 weeks then. So
who do you think is going to win the World Championship?
I think how it is at the moment, you'd have to say Ty Woffenden. he's not winning Grand Prix, but he's the most consistent one in there. He's going to finals, he's scoring big points if he stays fit. At the moment, I don't see how you could say he's not going to win. But
do you think it's a 1-horse race or a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race even?
At the moment, I'd say it's a 1-horse race for the winner, but it's very open for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
As we know, for the Speedway, Tyne needs to make a few slips, and those riders on chasing back, and Nicky Pedersen, Greg Hancock, Matty Zagar's on fire at the moment. So it's Speedway, it's good. Nothing happens until we get to Melbourne.
One of the things that I've noticed in the World Championship this year is a propensity to jump off your bike when somebody comes near you, and I think that's happening more and more in meetings. Is that something that only I'm feeling, or is that something that you're seeing as well?
It looks that way, but I think Ash is maybe one who knows more about that with riders. I don't know.
I don't really know. What do you guys think? Do you see it?
Always been there.
Yeah, if someone touches you, it's a
for
non-contact sport, so if someone touches you and you feel like you're going to get jeopardised and go to the back and lose money, if you can jump off it and get all 4 back or even get the other guy excluded, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You can do it, and it's in the rule book.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why riders are doing it. It's as plain and simple as that, and if you can get away with it while you are, do it, and then it's all of a sudden it might bite you in the bum and you end up getting a big scratch on your bum, or even worse.
And what about riders that come off and don't clear the track? Is that again something that... Well, I'm not going to mention any names, but...
That's always go down.
Yeah, it does. For me, getting the sport more attractive for the fans is about racing, and I think some of that professional foul type thing that you see in other sports is spoiling it sometimes. I can understand, Ash, why as a rider you might think it's legitimate.
Money, it's your livelihood, and that's the reason you do it.
Yeah.
As for getting off the track, I know how much it does hurt, and a little fall can knock your wind out of you. Imagine just tripping over, you can stay down for a minute, and sometimes it looks like a nothing fall, but you don't know what pain's going through under that helmet. Obviously, sometimes you do see it, and I swear at TV, but it happens in all sports, and people get slated for it, and usually they don't do it again, but people do it time and time again.
Talking of swearing at the TV, there's been some very strange refereeing decisions lately with regard to starts. I think those of you who saw the meeting last night will know that there was a bit of controversy, which Gary Havelock got all out of shape about. Is the standard of refereeing as good as it should be?
I think with referees, it's a difficult job. I won't want to be a referee. On the night, it's their opinion. Each referee has their opinion. What we'd like to see, I'm sure the riders would as well, Ash, is just consistency from referees. That's the same in law sport. So, I don't know, referees have their conference each year. I don't know what they decide, but I think they need to set guidelines on what they're looking for. But at the end of the day, it's the referee's opinion. He hasn't got the benefit of highlights of the TV often. He can't replay it 4, 5, 6 times. And it's what he thinks on the time. So there's always going to be different opinions from different referees, and I don't see a way around that, really.
Do you think some riders get a reputation with referees for, jumping the start or, getting flyers and they get watched for that?
I'm sure they do. Referees have said this, and I think team managers don't help, because often a team manager will make a point of telling a referee, you keep an eye on so-and-so tonight for this team because this is reputation. Referees know this, they don't need to be told. Team managers, sometimes if it's a just cause, they need to speak to the ref. Ref's not going to change his mind, but the team manager needs to stick up for his team. But some of them go a bit too far sometimes, I think, I've seen.
For me, I think it's been quite interesting. The last few weeks I've been up in the referee's box doing the incident recording and timekeeping, and I'm amazed how many times the team managers phone the referee just to complain about something that's happened in the previous race, which I never knew went on, but it does. And I think it's a little bit like in football with the players giving it a bit of verbal to the ref all the time. I think the good team managers try and get inside the refs' heads, and I think they actually try and influence his decisions.
I think so. The ref isn't going to change his mind, but if a similar incident happens and he knows the team manager's been on the phone earlier, that might sway the ref to make a different decision next time. And that's down to consistency again. If the referee can be seen to be consistent, I think riders respect that, team managers respect that, and fans respect that. But again, it's these things happen in a split second, and different people have different views of it. So I think it would always be a problem in Speedway.
I think when it's on Sky Sports and you can clearly see a decision's being made that's wrong, then it's out of order, because you can play back, you can see, and then there is no excuse. But like Pete's saying, on them split second moments, you know how many times you'll have watched a race and not seen it yourself. And I know that referee's got to be on the ball, but we are all only human, and it's difficult for them. And most riders do have a lot of respect for referees, and I'm one of them riders who do. Most of them, well, more or less all of them are nice guys, and they're there to do a job. They do it. Some decisions go against you, and then you do get pissed off. One happened to me this year at Edinburgh. I didn't think I was in the wrong, and there were another referee there that said, I don't know how you got excluded there. But you have to shrug it off, get on with it, and turn up to the line next race and do your best.
One thing that is always quite entertaining for the fans is when a rider's won a race and he goes around and he does a wheelie, or he does something a little bit different. Is that something
Can
that
sometimes be expensive, though.
I was going to say? Sometimes that can end in tears, can't it? Actually,
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. A lot of times.
I've got to say,
I don't know why I like to do wheelies on no bikes so vertical. I just don't know why. I should just learn a lesson. Yeah, exactly.
but you're not alone, because I can remember Ty Woofenden when he was riding for Rye House, winning a race, riding side saddle down the straight. When he got to the bend, he couldn't turn it, and came straight off. So you're not alone.
Oh no, it happens regular, but it can be. Them bikes do bend easy, and I reckon that one at Sheffield will have cost me about £250. So that's when it does become a bit of a nightmare, and you go back in and your mechanic's like, oh, brig arm, snap, back mudguard, snap, push bar's gone, seat's a bit bent. Oh no, I shouldn't have done a wheelie. And then you go out next time, you feel need to do one because everyone's thinking, is he going to do one?
The fans love it.
Yeah, and it made everyone laugh and everything about it. So, but it's part and parcel. Like, people come with kids, and when there's a wheelie after race, they watch this, and it just adds entertainment. Paco's brilliant. He is a crowd pleaser, and if he were winning every race, I don't know, his arms would be swinging. I don't know what he'd be doing, to be fair. I can't answer that one, because when he wins one, even I get entertained. But it's good, and I think Josh is practicing wheelies at the minute. I'm sure you're going to see him off back or a couple, and it's good. It's just good. It's entertaining.
Yeah, Paco's going to teach him how to do wheelies, so that should be spectacular.
Yeah, definitely.
Fairly soon.
Looking forward to that.
Okay, I think what we'll do now, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll do some questions from the floor. Okay.